Hello everybody, today we're going to do day 2 notes from unit 10, which we're going to talk about solving quadratics by graphing and by factoring. Now, in order to solve a quadratic, you are finding a solution. A solution to a quadratic equation are the values of x when y is equal to 0, also known as the roots, the zeros, the x-intercepts, the solutions. Okay? Quadratic equation can have 1, 2, or 0 solutions. Just like we said, they can have 1, 2, or 0 zeros. Same thing. They mean the same thing. So, from a graph, which is probably the easier of the two, I'll be very honest, because all you have to do is look and see. The solutions are just going to be the zeros. So, where it's crossing the x-axis. So here, it's crossing at 6 and 8. Those are our zeros. So x equals 6 and x equals 8. That's it. Okay? Now, remember, zeros are where they're crossing the x-axis. So, this is an example where it crosses twice. It is possible that I can only touch it once. It is possible that I can only touch it 0 times. Okay? You have to be ready for that because it will show up. So, you're going to try these two on your own. A and B. Alright? So you give it a try. Now, the other way you could do it is factoring. Why did I do it this way? Okay, you can find the solutions in your graphing calculator. Okay? I'll show you more with graphing calculator in class. So we're going to focus on the factoring polynomial part. Okay? To solve a quadratic equation is to find the x values for which the function is equal to 0. The solutions are called the zeros, or roots, or x-intercepts of the equation. To do this, we use the zero product property. What the zero product property says, if the product of two expressions is 0, then either is equal to 0. Then either one or both of them must be equal to 0. So, if a and b are expressions, and a times b equals 0, then a equals 0 or b equals 0. Okay, so we use this product property for how to justify finding solutions from a factored trinomial or factored form. So here's factored form. It's set equal to 0 because we said that a solution is when y equals 0. So we just changed the y to a 0. According to this property, that says either this, the x plus 5 will equal 0, or the x plus 2 will equal 0. Okay? Or they both could equal 0. That's the only way we're going to have that multiplication equal 0. One of them or both have to be 0. So, knowing that, we just solve to find out what x would be in order to make this true. So we just get x by itself. We subtract 5 from both sides. Ignore that for a second. We subtract 2 from both sides. So that means x would either have to be negative 5 or it would have to be negative 2 to make this true. Okay, so those would be our two solutions. So, we're doing it backwards than what we did last time in class. We started off with the zeros, and we found out what the factored form was. So this time we have factored form, and we just find out what x would equal. So we get the quadratic equal to 0. So if that means that it's just y by itself, we change it to 0. If it's not y by itself, we need to get it so it is by itself, we can change it to 0. If there's other things, we just need it to be equal to 0. That's our whole goal. Make sure it's equal to 0, factor it completely. We set each factor equal to 0. So we're going to write two equations. We solve for the variable. Sometimes they will equal the same thing, which means we only have one solution. Okay? And that's okay. If it's not factorable, it means we have no solutions. Okay? So here, find the roots, which means we're finding solutions for this. So this is already equal to 0, which is great, because that's one less step we have to do. So we're going to factor this. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and do the magic x. In the top, we're going to do the 1 times negative 30, because we need to multiply up to that. And in the bottom, we're going to put the 7, because we need to add up to that. So something that multiplies up to negative 30, but adds up to 7. 10 and negative 3 do that. for both. So now we can replace this 7x with a 10x minus 3x. Okay? Now that we have 4 terms, I go ahead and group it. The only reason I'm keeping this equals 0 is because it's technically an equation. I want it to stay an equation. Okay? If you want to just lose it and then put it back on when you factored it, that's totally fine. Once I've grouped it, I go ahead and figure out what the common GCF or the GCF is. So what do these two have in common? They have an x, so I pull out an x. These two have a -3. They can both be divided by -3, so I pull that out. Okay? You see how they have the same thing, x plus 10? That's one of my factors. The other one is the stuff I pulled out, the x minus 3. So that is my factored form. Now that I have my factored form, I'm going to set each of these equal to 0. So x minus 3 equals 0, or x plus 10 can equal 0. That's the only way this will come out to be equal to 0 when you multiply them. So now I just go ahead and get x by itself. I'm going to add 3 to both sides here. I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides here. X equals 3, or x would equal -10. You could say and, it's fine. They're your solutions. Okay? Those are the two possibilities that would make it true. Alright? So you guys are going to try these two on your own. Oh, it was very nice to you. This one you want to go ahead and try on your own. This one, I actually decided to set it equal to 0 for you. All I did was subtract 2x squared from both sides and add 4 to both sides. I just added it with the like term. So I just made this side equal to 0. That's all I did. Okay? And then I got my trinomials that I can factor. So you're going to try those on your own, and that's the end of the video. We will talk more about solutions next class, and I can answer any questions that you have. And that's it. Okay? Let me minimize this before I say goodbye, because then I'm always like, bye, and then talk to myself, which is always fun. There it is. Alright, that's it. Less than a 10-minute video. You guys have a good day.